Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of After the Murder, the official podcast where we recap the Traitors US and season 4. Oh my God, castmates. It's been just when we thought Traitors couldn't do it, they did. Okay. So today for episode 7, I have a stellar panel to discuss this jam packed. Ooh, Yam Yam, sorry. Jam packed episode. Hi, Jazmine. How are you?
Hello, babe. I'm good. How are you? I'm so happy to be back with you.
I know. I am so. Last time you were on the pod, you were on reality right after we were discussing
hmm
Housewives. So I'm excited to be talking Traders because it's. I know from your channel, everybody make sure that you guys are going on Jasmine's channel, Channel Surf. I know from your channel, you know how different it is when you're recapping the both. It's like a different energy, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
So we're definitely gonna get into analysis and gameplay. And the first time on any rundown media production, my friend, personal friend, but also the host of Pardon Me with P. Hi, Parish. How are you?
What's up? What's up? I'm doing good. So glad to be here. Thank you for
I
having me on.
know.
I'm excited.
I'm excited to talk traders with you. I'm so excited for your opinions.
Can't wait.
But you already know, castmates. Make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast after the murder. Oh my God! Yes, man, I fucking love.
About to put the coke on. Give me
Please.
one second.
Okay, ready. I love that.
For the castmates that are not watching us, Jazmine just put a cloak on. She is the traitor of the bunch. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my God, it's the perfect energy for what this episode is about to give, right? Um
100.
well, like I said, make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast. Make sure that you're subscribed to TRR Radio. And of course, follow the reality rundown for all things reality TV. The Traitor Season 4, Episode 7. We start at the banquet that we left off last episode, right? And there's a lot of heat on Lisa already going into this, right? So all the players arrive at Alan's banquet dressed to the nines. From what you saw of the episode, which person was dressed the best way to you, Jazmine?
Ooh, it's between Mora and
Mm-hmm.
Lisa Rinna. Like
Okay.
Oh,
Lisa Rinna's outfit was so over the top. Only Lisa Rinna could pull it off. Like
Yeah.
I live for it. It was giving founding father meets sailor realness. I loved that. And then, Mora with the hat. They knew Mora was really the belle of the ball because she got the final frame and she
Mm-hmm.
posed with
mm.
the hat. I loved it. I loved Candiace's headpiece, her Medusa
Yes.
headpiece, and then Eric's like blue jacket. But yeah, it was Lisa Rinna and Mora for me.
P, what were your favorites?
Yeah. Jasmine named all of some of my favorites. I will say Lisa A. Lisa was the top for me. The whole thing. Like, soon as she came out, I said, "Who made that?" Like, it was just so
Mm-hmm.
sickening. I love that. I also love Candice's fit and the headpiece. That was everything. So
Yeah,
I would say
yeah.
like those two will be my top two.
Yeah, no, there were some great outfits, and I'm glad that they did something like that because I like it when they do something different. I think sometimes in the show you can get so used to the dynamic of wake up, breakfast, talking shit, mission, roundtable, and do it
Mhm.
all again. So I'm glad that kind of like we're like in uncharted territory right now. We haven't done a usual episode. We're starting at not a breakfast, so I like this. I like this.
Who was
Um,
Yeah.
who was your favorite look,
my
Wellington?
favorites had to be Lisa Rinna. I'm sorry, it was just so dramatic and so perfect. I don't
Oh.
know. I don't know if that helped her in any way. I will say that because having heat on you and going into this banquet with one of the most dramatic situations. However, I think that it did help her because the
It
the
did.
the
Yeah, the
gem that
amulet.
she had to put on just went with it. So it kind of like fit
Mm.
perfectly.
It did. When she pinned it on, like when they showed her pinning it on in the episode before episode 6, I gagged. I was like, wait, she looks
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And it was perfect. It was
Because
perfect.
like looking at everybody else's outfits, these outfits are picked by production ahead of time. So looking at everybody else's outfits, let's say it would have been anybody else's, Rob or Candace, it would be sticking out.
Yeah.
Like it would be like,
hmm
why are you wearing that? It would kind of be sus. So the fact that it went on Rena, the reality TV gods are working.
Yeah. Can I
Um,
can I ask you one thing? I don't know if you guys saw the looks on Instagram. Rob, his shirt, it was a corset back. Like his
yeah.
shirt was like tied in the back.
Oh.
I said, come on, corset.
Okay.
He
Putting
be
his
trying
little
to
ship
give it.
in.
He be trying to give it. He be trying to
Yes.
give it. Lord Jesus, I don't
Right.
even look at white man, and I've been looking at that Rob like,
Uh,
Everybody is really
oh,
feeling him. I feel like he's
they.
cute. I've seen better. I've seen better.
no, I
He's cute
definitely seen
though.
better, but you can tell he a hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell he
Yeah,
nasty.
they
Anyways, not
love
to
him.
they definitely go crazy for him. Well, super dramatic entrance for Lisa Rinna in the craziest outfit, of course. Lisa knows it's too obvious on her if Colton gets killed tonight, right? So Yam Yam calls out the change in Lisa's energy. She's being different, being more talkative. And I think that that's, of course, that's happening because they already said that the reason why they think that Lisa Rinna is a traitor is because she's not acting like the Lisa Rinna that we know from Housewives. So it's something that
Mhm.
makes sense. Lisa decides that her kill should be between Jam Jam Kristen from Top Chef and Natalie from Survivor. She pretends that the amulet is poking at her and acts as one of them to help her out and claims that the murder has been done. Of course, we know who was murdered. But at this point, who do you think was the person the Lisa Rinna chose for the murder? Yasmin.
I thought it was Kristen. I thought Kristen was going
Mm,
home for
me
sure.
too, actually.
And yeah, it was the way that they did it. I mean, she was kind of like the last one to go over to Lisa when Lisa was saying like, "Oh, can you help me really quickly?" So I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was definitely Kristen. A little part of me was thinking it could be Natalie, but I know Natalie's like a really popular Survivor player, and she was on The
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Race. So I think a little part of me kind of knew it maybe wasn't Natalie, but I didn't think it was the person that it was though.
Right, right.
Yeah.
P, what were your thoughts when you were watching it
Mhm.
at that point? Did you think it was Yam Yam or something else?
So when I was watching it, I did think that it was Yam Yam, like just like based on how it was cut. But I was hoping that it was Natalie.
Mm.
Like Natalie, like she's just such a good gamer. So like I feel like she's probably somebody that needs to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus, I just think that she probably needs to go. So I was hoping it was her.
Yeah, yeah. No, a lot of people actually, and we see how the banquet plays out, right? So
Mhm.
Alan arrives at the banquet to tell the group that the legend of the Black Dinner. He tells them about a king that invited noblemen to a dinner, but that dinner was their own demise. Alan says that while at the banquet, a traitor has cursed someone to death. Alan says that for the first time ever, there is hope for the cursed player to, kind of save themselves, which was something new that we see on Traitors. It was
Mhm.
Traitors. They're starting to like go into like the drag race era where like they don't know what to do, so they start introducing objects into the game as like
Mhm.
the golden scepter or the bar of chocolate. So here
It's
is
chocolate.
it's chocolate. Here is a potion that if you think you were the person that was murdered by the traitors during this banquet, you can take it and you'll save yourselves. And also the probability of that person actually taking it is like so big in this room. It's like 12
Mhm.
people, you know?
Yeah.
So the players have to discuss who gets to drink the antidote. The table is open for discussion. Everyone, excuse me, everyone gets paranoid and starts tossing out accusations. Tara says that Dorinda forced a piece of turkey on her, and Dorinda says, "I'm a natural server. Don't look at me.
Mhm.
That's just who I am." So the faithfuls are going panicking, right? So what do you think about the accusations that they're throwing out? Clearly, they're starting to think a little bit more because they're pointing out things that are happening at that banquet, whether it is the fact that Steven was cutting steak for some people, where there is the fact that Steven was also asking someone to like lift the card on the table. So the what do you think about the gameplay between the faithfuls at this point, P?
So for me, when I was watching that scene, I thought that it was interesting. Like I thought that it got so chaotic so fast. I'm like, wait, everybody is like just throwing all types of accusations out. And what I thought was interesting is that especially when like they were talking about how Lisa did the kids, I thought like it was the same thing for everybody. So
Right,
that was pretty shocking. Like why are you queuing into that as if like she didn't do the same thing for every person?
right, right. Jasmine, what were your thoughts when you were watching the faithfuls debate over who they think should take the potion?
Yeah, so when Alan like introduced the antidote, I was like, how do the faithfuls even begin to discuss? Like, how do you even start a discussion like this? There's two antidotes. You have no clues at all, like who could be a traitor outside of them suspecting Lisa. No clues as to like who could be in danger. And that is where I realized, like, or I was reminded of the flaw within the traitors game, right? There's never
Mm,
any upside for the faithfuls. Like, they're never given any inkling of like who could potentially be a traitor.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this conversation, I knew it was going to become chaotic because they don't have anything to go off of. So I was just like, okay, this is about to be like a bunch of people fighting. I was actually shocked that they narrowed it down as quickly as they did. Because, or maybe they didn't, right? Like, we're only getting the edited versions. It might have
Right,
gone on
right,
a lot
right.
longer. But yeah, I was like, this is kind of strange because there's no way for them to even start having this conversation. And yeah, this was really also the moment when I was like, Natalie, you were already on thin ice with me and the ice has broken. Get out of my castle.
she gotta
A lot of
go.
I
Natalie
saw that
gotta go.
on social media from a lot of people. I mean, yeah, how do you begin to even debate this? Essentially, this was a roundtable at this point, you
Yep.
know. That's how the silence felt right before they started debating, you know. So here you have to figure out, okay, who did something. I did think that the people that were saying certain things were on to the right, at least they were thinking the right way, you know. Steven offering people steak, that could be a way to murder someone.
Yeah.
Asking someone to lift that card, that, like that, I can understand why Steven got some heat on him because he was doing a lot of things. But also, when you are a faithful and you're truly a faithful, you get so comfortable around certain people that you kind of forget that you can still get heat, you know? So, and I think
Yeah.
that's what happened with Steven, where like he truly believes that a lot of people also believe that he's a faithful, but this game is not over. There's still a bunch of people in this game, and you know, maybe you are a traitor, and I think that's how the faithfuls were feeling in that moment. Jasmine, go ahead.
Yeah, I think with Steven, I said this on my recap too, so it'll be like I'm reiterating this, but with Steven, when I watched him like tell Kristen to turn over or I forgot who he told, but they turned over the card and it was Kristen. I was like, that's so risky of Steven to do. Like, why isn't he thinking that like this is probably the most obvious thing? But then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to put yourself in the mind of a faithful. When you're innocent, everything you do is innocent, right? So
Yeah.
like, he's not thinking me telling you to turn this card over. It's not clocking to him, in the words of Justin Bieber, that this could be something nefarious because he's a faithful. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, the dynamics are so interesting too because they're doing so many things in the House of Faithfuls that like in any other situation they could be looked at as traitorous, treacherous, but
Yeah.
because they're innocent, it's just like, oh, I'm misspeaking, I'm slipping up on my words like Portia was. And it's like, well, yeah, that's suspicious when we don't have anything else to go off of, but you're just innocently making a mistake. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And also to me, it's very interesting when the faithfuls decide if track record is something that's going to play into like decisions, you know, because I feel like when it came to this dinner, it was basically we're going based on whatever happened at this dinner, but also I think it would have been smart to also realize who might the traders want to murder, you know, who
Mhm.
might the traders actually be behind. So that was a strategy that was missing for me in that point. But anyways,
Mhm.
Natalie would not stop screaming that she wants to drink the antidote. Natalie and Tara run to grab the antidote. Also, from the clips that they were promoting, I thought people were throwing hands and stuff. And the way that
Mhm.
Alan was talking about this episode, I'm like, damn, he went down over there. It got into Baddie Scotland or something. I don't know. But Tara and Natalie would like they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and even like uh Johnny tried to grab the antidote from like the man that was holding it and gave it straight to Kristen and was like, drink it, like fuck it, like you drink it. And Kristen was like,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to do that. They doing too much. Bitch, I would have drunk that shit. Like
Thank
personally,
you. She gave up way too quickly. I was so disappointed in Kristen because I was like, if you think there's a possibility that you could be murdered, take it.
take
There
it.
and people were backing you up. Take it. She's like that. Let them fight it out,
Yeah.
girl. You ain't built for a game like this. But I love Kristen. I love Top Chef. That's one of my favorite shows. So
It's such a good show. It's such
Yeah,
a good
no.
show.
I love her too. So like I was like, oh, I hope that like you probably fight for it, but because she did it, I didn't like hold it against her. But I thought like she just gave up too easy.
Hmm.
Yeah, but talking about Kristen for a little bit, I do want to take a little step out of the show itself and talk about how she went on social media today and spoke up about how she feels like the edit has not been basically covering her at all. Her, Mark, some of the other faithfuls that we really don't really see. Like we don't see confessionals like that from Johnny. We don't see confessionals from Tara. We don't see confessionals from Steven into this episode. There's a I think this episode was the first Mark uh confessional that I've seen since the beginning, So it's a lot of people, a lot of faithfuls. Of course, this is a show, there's 1 hour. Sometimes they extend it to, a supersized version, and there's so much to get into. And when you think about a roundtable, I think the producers make the decision to keep as much as the roundtable in because everybody talks at those roundtables rather than keep in commentary and certain like side storylines. But Kristen does feel a way about the fact that her and Mark have a strategy in play that no one even knows about. And, she wasn't even open about what that strategy was like itself, but she's basically saying that they have a strategy that they've been working on since the beginning of the show and it's actively at play and no one knows about it because production hasn't shown us. So
Mm.
thinking about that, Jazmine, what does that tell you about the game right now? Like there's so much we don't know that also goes into the decision making that these players are making.
It tells me less about the game and more about the story that Peacock wants to tell us, right? Like, Wellington, you know this more than
Yeah.
anybody. There's always a story that needs to be told. And then there's always, I think, I can't say this for certain, but I feel like they are playing into specific audiences, right? The Housewives audiences, the people who are tuning in who love the Housewives, we want to see Candiace, we want to see more of Dorinda, right?
Yeah.
Love Island was the highest rated show last summer. People want to see Rob. And then the fact that we have the first season where there's no gamers as traders, that's the story that we're looking to play out. And so, unfortunately, that means everyone's story can't be told. I do
Yeah.
hate that for Kristen, but I feel like, if we're looking at the hierarchy of the people, of the cast on the show, Top
Hmm.
Chef isn't as high as the Housewives or as Love Island. I don't know how many people watch Dancing with the Stars. I don't. I didn't know who Mark was until I started watching him on The Traders. But I would probably assume that that's not as big of an audience, or as many people from Dancing with the Stars aren't
Yeah.
tuning into the Traders to see Mark. So it does make sense if you have to cut people. You're not cutting Rob from the most popular dating show. You're not cutting Candiace Dillard Bassett.
It's
You know
truly
what I'm
no
saying?
shade.
Yeah, it's no shade
Yeah.
at all. In the beginning, you have this polarizing figure in Michael. You're not cutting Michael scenes. Feel how you want to feel about him. That's what you want to see on reality
Yeah.
TV. You
And
know?
they and the crazy thing is that they did cut Michael scenes. So that goes to show how much, like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What do you think
Yeah.
about what Kristen put P on social media and also how that makes you view the game moving forward?
Yeah, so when I heard about that, I thought that it was pretty interesting because, like, what I saw on Peacock, I thought that that was the actual game that she was playing, and I was like, man, I wish that she would just do something different. And to hear that she actually was doing something different, and we didn't see that, it makes me wonder now, like, what else is happening in the game that's
Mm-hmm.
going on, and like, how are my views about these players kind of skewed just based on the
Mm-hmm.
story that we're being told? And it's like I might not like some of the players, and they might actually be, doing some good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It definitely and I wonder if that's what production wants. They also want to fool the audience. It can't feel like we are going to know every step of this game as we're watching it. So maybe that's it. However, back to the game itself. Alan announces that Yam Yam is the player who was cursed to death, and the guards rip Yam Yam away. And he starts screaming, "It was Lisa! Lisa kissed me! It was Lisa! 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 It was Lisa! Lisa!" Girl,
I loved how Alan revealed it. He said, "It was you,
it
Jam Jam."
was. And you saw his face. He actually thought someone stabbed him from the back. He was like, like he thought something was going to happen to him. Like he thought, like
I
legitimately.
would have thought so too. Those masked men grabbing me up out of my seat, please. I would have been screaming bloody murder in that bitch too.
Like, oh my god, that was such a funny part. Like, and also sad because he was trying to go for the potion, and he kind
Mhm.
of like backed down,
Yeah.
thinking that maybe it wouldn't be him, but he was trying to go for that potion. And then Natalie, you were so adamant about taking that potion because of something that happened to you in that dinner, that you didn't get to hear other people out because of how aggressive you were about taking that potion. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to call it what it is. Um
Can we stay on Natalie for a second, really
yeah, go
quickly?
ahead. Go ahead.
So I had Tess Higgins on Channel Surf when we were recapping the Traitors, and she was saying, because I was like, I'm not feeling Natalie because she's playing a very aggressive game to me.
Yeah.
And Tess loves Survivor. Tess is like, that's the world she comes from, right? Like she is a
Mm.
Survivor winner. You don't win Survivor by playing a passive game. So Natalie is playing an aggressive game, and her game sticks out as especially aggressive because she's the last gamer left now. Like
Yeah.
Jam Jam was there with her, but she was one of the last gamers standing. So her game looks to be completely different than everybody else. And so that's why it just wasn't landing with me. But I was also really confused about Natalie because I'm like, she fought so hard for the shield, for the antidote, but she was the one telling people that if they took a shield in another challenge, that they would get banished.
That they would
So I'm
get
like,
banished.
yeah, so she doesn't want people to take shields, the thing that would save them from the murder, but she wants to take the antidote. I'm like, if they had more gamers at that table, they would have picked up on that immediately. Like that's very suspicious. Super. So
Mm.
she was being very suspicious in that moment. And yeah, I wasn't feeling it, but Tess did add some color to it. And it's like, well, her game is probably jarring to you because it's a survivor's game.
Yeah.
And she's playing it that way. So
Yeah. A lot of people, I've seen that contrast. Do you watch, have you ever watched Survivor P?
Not really. Like I've caught a few episodes, but this was my first introduction to Natalie.
Yeah, me too. I've never seen her before, but I did kind of
Mm.
figure that it would be that. I do think that Traders is just a different gameplay when it comes to everything because there's such
mhm.
a um it's a mind game when it
Yeah.
comes, like the
Yeah.
physical part. I would say it's really nothing, but so I think that they kind of like sometimes get confused between that, because in Survivor it is a mind game a little bit, but it's very physical in the sense of like your
Yeah.
survival depends on you doing physical things. So
Mhm.
I do need Natalie to kind of calm down and listen a little bit more, because at the last roundtable when it ended, you were so thankful to Candiace for not going against you, and for basically hearing you and trying to take everything in and giving you another chance. But then here you are the next episode, not even a full 24 hours, still being so like determined that something in that it's your way or the highway. And I
Yeah.
think that the faithfuls are starting to get to a point where they're also battling against each other on who they're trying to stay in this game, because at the end of the day, the Traders is one of the most watched TV shows, and these are all reality stars. And I do believe that it comes to a point where people are fighting to stay on the show, not necessarily to win or to do what's right. So when
Mhm.
you see
Yeah.
certain people going against each other, this standoff between Tara and Natalie, I also think it's a matter of, bitch, I'm trying to stay on this show till I can no longer. Like the Traders are taking me out.
Okay.
You're not going to. So
I want my
um
appearance fee, my per episode fee.
you know what I'm saying, girl? Like the rent gotta get paid. So I get it.
Okay.
I get it. But now let's get into the breakfast. The breakfast the next morning, Lisa, Candice, and Rob. Producers are working. Thank you for giving us a traders only entrance at the beginning, because we didn't get a turret. So
Right.
I need that dialogue between the traders where they feel safe to talk about what's fucking happening.
Mhm.
And Lisa needed that too, clearly, because the moment that they walked into the breakfast, I liked how Candace did not waste any time and put it on the floor. She said, y'all got something to talk about? So let's air it out right now. And Lisa tells Rob, like, listen, like, I don't understand why you went so hard for me. Like, I still don't get it. And Rob tells her that he felt that his alliance to Colton was way more important than anything in this game, and that he was very vocal about Ron not being a traitor. And I'm sorry, y'all, I have to call something out when it comes to Rob. I think that he is using that Ron thing as an scapegoat, because you stepped into traitor on traitor territory because you wanted to, not because these
Hmm.
were the cards that you were dealt. To be completely honest, you voted for Ron at a previous roundtable to vote him out. So you voting for him again that night wouldn't have really made a difference. You know what I'm saying? Because people wouldn't have looked at you in any different way because you had already had suspicions on him. And a lot of people at that roundtable, even though his speech was so convincing, they still were on that I still want to find out. You know what I'm saying? So you could have rolled that wave too, and it wouldn't have and it wouldn't have given you any heat. However, you did see this as the chance to take another trader out, and I want you to call a spade a spade. That's all I want from Rob. Say because he is trying to keep, he's keeping it 100 a little bit now this episode in the confessionals, but prior to that
Hmm.
he was trying to make it seem like these are all the cards that he's being dealt. And also another thing that I have to critique from his gameplay, as a trader, you're not supposed to feel bad for the faithfuls. You're not basing your kills over, oh my God, like I really like this person. They're a nice person. And like, I want them to stay on a little bit. Like, that's not what you're basing your kills on.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that that's really what made him, in a way, turn on Lisa Rinna because he wanted to protect Ron, I'm not with that gameplay. But also, I want to get your opinions. What do you think about Rob's gameplay so far, Jazmine?
Rob is playing a good game in terms of like getting the faithfuls wrapped around his
Mm-hmm.
fingers. His game reminds me a lot of Cerie's game from season 1. Cerie
Yeah.
had those faithfuls like they were eating out of the palm of her hands. His fatal flaw though is he turned on his fellow traders way too early. When
Mm-hmm.
we saw Cerie in season 1, when she had to turn on Cody, it was because literally everybody was gonna vote. Like the writing was on the wall for Cody at that round table. She had no other choice. And she comes from Big Brother. You don't vote against the house, right? You vote with the house. So that was her only option in that moment. And he was going out anyway. She did at the end, she turned on Ari to take all the money for herself. But
Of
the
course.
game is the game is the game. It's called the Traitors, right? But so Rob's game up until this had reminded me a lot of Cerie's. And so him like kind of basically at that breakfast telling Lisa and Candiace, like, well, I'm just gonna do what I've been doing and like not say anything. Like, I'm not gonna try to get the heat off of you. Like, basically, I'm standing 10 toes on this. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna vote for you again, or like, I don't have any loyalty to you. It was way too early for him to do that. And like I went into this episode thinking or feeling like it was Lisa's last stand, but that's me as a viewer, not
Mm-hmm.
them in the castle. He could have turned the heat off of Lisa and he just chose
Easily.
not to. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's playing a little like his game is starting to veer on the side of arrogance now. Like he just
Mm.
knows that he's doing a good job. He knows everybody in the castle has googly eyes to him and they're in
Mm.
love with him
I
and like
agree.
yeah, so he thinks he's running shit,
Hmm.
he thinks he's running shit.
Yeah. Yeah. P.
Yeah. He gives me like sneaky vibes, and I just
Snake.
don't like that. Like, yes, a sneaky snake. Like, absolutely, he got the perfect tattoos. Because, like, I think, like, it just first, I was not surprised that Rob was the like trader to like go into trader versus trader territory. If it was anyone out of the three, I thought that it was going to be Rob.
Yeah,
I
I
think that
agree.
I was just upset of like how it happened and then like what his reason was. It's like, boy, like just tell the truth. You wanted to do it because you want to make it to be the last trader.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty simple. For me. Um,
Super sad.
Lisa demands that Rob and Candiace help her out today after they left her to do the murder by herself last night. In confessional, Rob says now that Yam Yam has basically signed Lisa's banishment certificate, that he doesn't think it will be a good gameplay for him to defend her now because he is 100% sure that Lisa is going to be banished. Eric, the rest of the people start walking in. Eric is still traumatized by the banquet. He's like, listen, Alan Cumming throws horrible parties. Dorinda walks in. She says hi to Lisa and says, don't kiss me with the poisonous, don't give me the poisonous kiss. You know, Dorinda being Dorinda. Lisa and Colton, though, this is the big moment at the breakfast. Lisa basically checks Colton. She says that Colton is always dogging her. Colton thinks that he needs to take a step back so he doesn't get too much heat on him today. And they really start going back and forth a little bit. And you see Rob, he says he's not trying to help her. And he says that he doesn't want to turn the heat off of her. But then you see Rob see it go a little left for Colton. and he immediately intervenes and says, guys, can we just have breakfast?
Yeah.
Which I think was super weird because at the end of the day, y'all all know that we're supposed to be having debate and discussion while we're having this breakfast. Like, we're filming a show, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not actually having breakfast. So for you to cut the conversation and say let's just have breakfast was weird. And why are you so protective of Colton? Like, I get it, protecting him of murders, but like in the game openly, like, it's very weird. I don't understand this bromance. And people on social media start doing analysis and they start looking at where these people are from and stuff like that. And there was this girl, I don't know her name, but I will make sure to when we clip this to tag her. But she made a reel where basically she kind of went back and basically put together that, like, Rob's bromances on these shows matter to him more than his relationships to his female counterparts. Like, they basically analyze how he went against the girls on Love Island with his bromance with the I forgot his name, the
Aaron,
one Aaron, with Aaron, yeah. And how
who
he's
also won the
basically,
Traitors.
yeah, the also won the Traitors. That, and now how he's doing this with Colton and against the housewife who is actually his team. So very interesting to me that Rob is willing to let go of his alliance to the Traitors so early. But again, is it going to play out to him? I don't know. Is it good gameplay? In my opinion, it's not good gameplay because it is coming off arrogant and it is coming off as like you're only working for yourself. And to me, if I'm looking at the last roundtable, the way that he went for Lisa Rinna was so extra that it's like you're starting to act like someone that you haven't been in this last 7 episodes. So
Mhm.
and Johnny, here's the faithfuls still being suspicious about the wrong people. Child, Johnny is suspicious about Natalie. He has a theory that the gamers toss other gamers under the bus to take the heat off of themselves. I mean, it is a good theory, but you can say that about any bunch when it comes to this game. Natalie, Lisa, and Tara are talking in the library after breakfast. Natalie says 2 of the gamers have been targeted. And she starts talking and she's like, yeah, because we murdered one last night. And then boom. And I said, Lisa, right now, grab yourself onto like that. That was just perfect. The way, like, Lisa Rinna has already heat on her, and Natalie says this. Did you see that also as an opening for Lisa Rinna to kind of like escape banishment, Jazmine?
No, and because only because Portia already did this, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that moment, had Portia not been banished because she misspoke, then yes, this would have been perfect for Lisa because this would have been the nail in Natalie's coffin. But
Yeah.
we've already witnessed Portia misspeak, be banished, and be a faithful. And so I think people in their minds, it might make them a little more suspicious of Natalie. I don't think it was going to land as hard
Yeah.
as Lisa thought it was. Now, to her credit, this is the moment where you say, if people are saying my name, I'm using whatever I can to
Yeah.
try to turn the heat onto you. So, like, to her credit, yes, absolutely grab onto it. But like, as she was saying that, in my mind, I was like, if they banish Natalie because of this, they like it wouldn't feel like a good episode to me because we're
Mm.
also watching this as viewers knowing that she's a faithful, so that moment also doesn't really like hit that hard for us either. So yeah, it was interesting. I was shocked that Natalie of all people did the
I
misspeak
know,
though. And
right?
this gamer herself, I was shocked that she was the one that made the mistake, but I didn't feel like I wasn't gagging, in the words of Raja O'Hara.
Uh,
Period.
Lisa's scrambling. She's grabbing onto anything that she can take. Is this Natalie gameplay the best she can at this point? Looking at everybody else that's left in the castle.
So I think just based on what Lisa's like strategy is in the game, I think that probably was the best that like she probably was thinking of in the moment. Like I think that Lisa was just solid in being a trader that she didn't really like think about strategy too
Mm-hmm.
much based on what I saw. So I think she was scrambling because she was like, "Oh wait, I never been in this place before. What's going on?"
Yeah.
Very
I,
weird. Go ahead, Jasmine.
also to that point, the strategy, like the lack of strategy between Lisa and I
Mhm.
would say Candiace too, right? But that's what we get when we have like less gamers in the house and kind of just reality TV stars are like they are all vibes and relationships and stuff like that, which is great on in their arenas. But in the traders, there is a little bit of strategy that you can have, and I think that's actually kind of their to their detriment, right? Rob kind
Yeah.
of is the only trader with a solid strategy right now, and so yeah, it's to their downfall, or at least to Lisa's downfall.
To Lisa's downfall for
Yeah.
sure. The players arrive at their next challenge. They must race to a monument on top of the hill. They have to grab as much gold along the route to the top in order to get 25,000 added to the pot. One of the players will have the opportunity to win a dagger that will allow them the power of 2 votes at one of those next round tables. So we have 4 roundtables left, and the person that gets this dagger gets 2 extra votes. So this is like another thing that's being added into the game that is giving someone the advantage, right?
Mhm.
Dorinda, Lisa, and Candiace are the last 3 at the bottom of the hill. Of course, the housewives, like no shade. Like I
Oh,
think that's
Lisa was walking up.
she was like, this is the part that I did not. And then I love something that I've been obsessed with is Candace. Like, she does not like the outside missions. Like,
At all. At all.
you always see Candace like it's like they took a princess from a castle and placed her like in the middle of the jungle. You just
Yes.
see her walking around like, what is going on? I love it. I love it. I love it. Colton and Rob devise a plan to get Lisa out at the round table. They're like, listen, there's conversations now from what Kristen is putting on social media. There's conversations that I feel like we're not seeing.
Yeah.
And because specifically this episode, we do see this shift from Rob in how aggressive he is trying to go against Lisa, right? So they go through the dagger situation and come to find out Natalie had the dagger. Rob was able to clock her for having the dagger. And also his explanation of why he thought that she was a liar was also like kind of like spot on a little bit. And I was like, okay, like this
Rob
Rob
is
is
scary.
like Rob is scary.
Rob scares me. It was this. I'm like, he is eerily good at detecting lies and extracting lies.
Mhm.
And also in was it episode 5 or 6 when his accent slipped? He's like, they're planning a coup. They're trying to take Colton out tonight. That surprised me. I was like, who is that man? I had never heard
Okay.
that accent come out of his mouth, but they're planning a coup. I was like, oh, look, I started speaking in my own, like, oh my God, what is going on?
That's the one that be ripping Snake's head out at 3 o'clock in the morning in the wilderness that we see them videos. He be
He
Okay.
scares me.
I'm like,
I don't want to be alone with him.
whoa,
He's slick.
whoa. Wait,
Mhm.
P, did you think he was gonna get that dagger ceremony right, or like?
No, so I kind of was gagged, and like after like just seeing like how he was moving through the ceremony, I was like, wait a minute, he got some skills that like I'm trying to figure out where did that come from? What's going
Mm-hmm.
on?
And I thought the same thing when early in the episode he told Mara and the rest of the people that he was like, listen, when 2 people are lying, there's one person that's telling the truth and there's one person that is basically reacting to that truth and trying to like flip you from that. He said when Yam Yam left, he literally, first of all, he's murdered. He has no more stake in this game. And the thing that he's saying is Lisa kiss me, Lisa kiss me, Lisa kiss me. So now it's on Lisa's burden to kind of like flip that and make us believe that she didn't, or if she did, if it is true, then the same opposite. So he's been clocking stuff like that throughout the entire episode. So I'm like, yo, like, I wonder if like, did you go to the police academy or something? Like, like what?
Yes.
Did you study criminal justice? Like, what is it like? Because he's very investigative and he
Yeah.
uses legitimate skills and like things to point out,
Yeah.
people lying and the way that people are having conversations and the way people are behaving. So I found that very interesting. But unfortunately for Lisa, Rob now has the power for 2 extra votes at the round table.
Yep.
Knowing that he's going for Lisa at this round table, P, did you think he was going to use those 2 votes?
I was hoping he wasn't, but just knowing like what I think about Rob and just like how sneaky and like devious he is, I already knew that it was coming, but I was just like, it's gonna make me so upset.
Yeah, yeah. And I think maybe, what do you think, Yasmin?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't have a idea. I like the introduction of the dagger. I hope they
Yeah.
keep that around though, because I do think that will make roundtables really interesting. But I didn't have a read on what he would do. I felt like he was just gonna wait and see how the roundtable turned out, and if he needed to pull out
Yeah.
two to get Lisa out, he probably would have done that. But I didn't have a solid idea of what he might
Mm.
do.
I think I agree. I do love the dagger, and for the producers, because I know you're listening, I think that you need to start just throwing the daggers into the game as you throw the shields. You know, I think these are things that you can start implementing into the game very early on as items while they're playing the missions, and it would be very interesting to see those things play out very early on. And I think that, when we get into season 5, 6, 7, like, you're gonna need ways to like really flip it. So we're already starting to see how they're trying to do that now, right? um when they get back from this part of the dagger ceremony, right before they go into the castle, Rob stops everybody and he tells them, he says, listen, I trust everybody here, we're all faithfuls, and I promise that I have the dagger. He basically tells them, and then tells them that, don't tell anybody that I have the dagger. And basically, we're doing a pact between each other, and we will protect each other, basically at the round tables, and move as a unit, right? So,
This was wild to me.
what
It
do
was
you think
very
about?
Yeah, it still it also gave me like very much Sari. Like this feels like a Sari move, but it also was really like, yes, this is such an arrogant man because
Mm-hmm.
it was like six people. First of all, there's too many people for a pact. Okay, like one of those people is gonna tell on you. The second thing is like statistically, one of you guys is likely a traitor. Like
Yeah.
if we know the game how we know the game, statistically speaking, in a group of six, when there's what like 11 or 12 people left, one of y'all might be the traitor. So if I'm in that group and I know I'm unfaithful, I would start, my antennas will go up a little bit because I'm like, first of all, you're putting a lot of trust in like many people.
Mm-hmm.
You are a really smart person and we know this about you. You just detected a lie. You're not thinking that other people in this group could be a traitor. Why not? Maybe because you're the traitor.
Mhm.
I would have been thinking like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I say everything I would be thinking, but I would probably be dumb as hell on that show
No,
too.
but no, I mean, that's the analysis part. I think it's fair. What were you thinking about this move that Rob did, P?
So I think for me, I think that this moment really just showed me that I don't know like how well I would do in a game like this because I was just still so upset. Like, stop doing all of these sneaky things when like you're turning your back on your team as the traders, right? So I
Yeah.
think that it just showed me like I got to figure out like if I ever find myself in a situation like this, like how can I get some some little like sneaky skills. But I think that Jasmine is absolutely right. Like, why was nobody in that circle thinking like, okay, somebody here has to be a traitor? And I think that that moment also shows that like pretty privilege is a thing, and people just love Rob,
I'm
and
so
they're
glad you clocked
like
that.
they are obsessed with like just whatever he got going on,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that he is like weaponizing that. And hey, he making it work.
Mm-hmm.
100% is pretty privileged. I've been saying that because I was like, if people found, and it's no shade to Ron, but if people were more attracted to Ron would have had
Yes.
different treatment in the house. And the same if you guys think back to season 2, Dan, who famously threw Portia under the
Mm-hmm.
bus, Dan was playing a game very similar to like how Rob was playing before Rob started speaking up. Dan wanted to like lay low and just try to gain trust with people. It didn't work out for Dan because people were suspicious of him, and it's because they weren't as attracted to him as they are to Rob. Everybody in that house is saying, "Oh, Rob." Even Johnny was like, "Oh, he's so hot, I can't even look at him." Look
Yeah.
look past the perfectly chiseled nose. Okay,
You
he
know?
has a really good nose, but look past the really good nose.
And he
Okay, and
also
the
plays
ass.
into that. He's wearing overalls with
Yeah.
nothing under. You know what I'm saying? He's literally like standing like this.
Yep.
Okay, ready.
Like, boy,
Literally.
what are you
Get
like?
up.
What, get up? Like, who are you
Oh.
putting all of that? Like, and Like it's just, and I feel like he knows that
Yeah,
that's what he's doing, and
Yeah.
he's also playing into that. We did see what Lisa Rinna posted a reel where she kind of like spoke about the first couple episodes of the Traitors, and she said that she believes that people are not looking at Rob because he's so hot. And
yeah,
like to her, it's like she's like, I'm married to Harry Hamlin. Like to me, that's nothing. But
Such a
that's why
slut.
other people are really like gagged when it comes to Rob, and they're not really even thinking about it. Especially with Mara there, that it's like a little chihuahua. Like next time, like no, no, no. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like it's
Mhm.
very. He's kind of, I don't blame him, but I do think that this move right before you go into the castle, to me, if you're gonna make that move, you have to make it with a number that controls the round table. If you're making it with six and you need eight to control the round table, then what's the point of going, like, like if you're gonna make that move, make it with the right number. So like that, at least going into this round table, like I have eight people that I believe trust me and whatever, whatever. But you're making it with six random people. Also, people that are onto you a little bit, because Steven has his things about you. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. I don't know. Again, I do believe, like you said, Yasmin, I do believe that it's his arrogance that is coming out now, where
Mhm.
he feels like I can really like take this away from the traders, and also like I'm fooling these faithfuls. And some of me questions like, is it because he's been so helpful during the missions? Also because that's another thing that I feel like played into people liking him. He's the one that is always going back at the end of the mission to make sure that they're finishing the mission. He's the one that is carrying people, helping people. So everything, all of that is why he's now episode 7 doing all of these things and flying under the radar
yeah,
For the most part, yeah. For
for
the
the
most
most
part.
part.
Hmm.
Well, Rob is nervous for the roundtable because he has made it clear, I'm going for Lisa Rinna. Now it's time for the roundtable. Lisa starts off by bringing up Natalie, and the moment she started talking, I said, you're nervous. You're nervous. And to me, when the heat's on you, you have to sit back and let the conversation start. What were your thoughts, Yasmin, when Lisa started talking?
I actually wanted to touch on right before we get there because as they were doing the walk in,
Uh huh.
Rinna was giving Laura Ben Croft down. Like she looked like Laura Croft's walking in with that tank top, and you saw the
Yes.
strut she was doing
Yes.
too. I said, "Oh, Lisa, I'm living for it." But yes, had the hair slicked back and everything.
I loved
I
it.
was literally like Laura Ben Croft.
It's like she knew it was her last roundtable, so she wanted to give quintessential, like old school Retta a little bit, you know?
Oh, she would have had me eating out of the palm of her hands. I love a girl that can do a good look and like
Yeah.
really
mhm,
live in it and have the
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah.
That's why I like Rinna. But yeah, when she started, it was pretty much over for Rinna, right? Like the writing was on the wall this entire episode, and so I was curious to see like how she was going to approach the roundtable. I think she did what a desperate person does, which like in some cases that can help you
Mm,
because she really no, I was gonna say she only needed a couple of extra votes to get Natalie out. She didn't. It was pretty unanimous that it was her. But
mm,
yeah, if the jam jam thing doesn't happen, Lisa probably could have flipped the table. But that's a fantasy world because the jam jam thing happens, right? So Rob was right in that, signed her banishment certificate. But yeah, she did what a desperate person does, and that's like kind of go balls to the wall. You try to get the heat off of you by any means necessary, and like in some
mhm.
circumstances it works. In this one, unfortunately, she was not successful.
yeah. Yeah. P.
Yeah, I will say like I'm on the same page with y'all. Like I think that it was like pretty clear that she was visibly like nervous, desperate. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen her that frazzled before.
Mm,
And I think that at the round table, I think it was really clear that like Lisa does great in like um those settings when she knows like she isn't in danger. Like,
yeah.
like she can act and she can be Lisa Rinna, right? But when it's like she might, be at risk of going home. Like my girl was in a frenzy. She didn't know what
Yeah.
to do.
She really didn't. And that was
Yeah.
also very true. Like, very weird to see Lisa Rinna in that mode, because it was as if
Mhm.
she wasn't in control of what she wanted the scene to. And one
Mhm.
thing about Lisa Rinna is that you've always felt like she's in control of the scenes that
Yeah.
she's shooting, you know? And so very interesting. But she brings up the fact, what Natalie said about when we murdered. Tara backs Lisa Rinna up and says that Natalie says that, and she's only bringing this up to. Natalie then responds to Rena and says that she's only bringing this up to get the heat off of her, and kind of like gets emotional. I'm like, okay, it's really not that serious, girl. Like, you could have just responded. Like, you didn't have to almost cry. Like, I feel like it was so extra. Like, we are not, like, why are you crying, girl? You just drank the potion. You just, like, I feel like Natalie's always to the extreme when it comes to everything. Like, even that one back and forth is almost crying that, no, no, you're doing this because you want to get the heat off of you, not because you really think that I'm a traitor. She ate her
That's,
up though, no shade.
she did, and that's that gamer. That's how gamers play. You know
They're
what I'm
very
saying? Like,
like,
yeah, at every turn you're trying to get people on your side, and like the way you do that is like high emotion. And yeah, I don't think Natalie. I wasn't seeing it for Natalie, but I think Natalie. I don't think she was wrong in how she played it. Like you have to be like almost appalled. Like, I'm not a
yeah,
traitor. Like, you're only saying this about me because
I
you're a traitor.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Some because Portia was taking it like she knew she was a traitor and she needed to get back to P. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, Portia,
Uh,
why? Like, she was not even fight. A lot of people don't fight. Like, some people just be like,
yeah,
and I'm just like, girl, if I was there, I'm getting on the table, I'm crying, and I'm saying, y'all not kicking me out. Y'all are not doing
yeah.
it. I am not a fucking traitor. Y'all like I'm doing a full show. So I can't believe that, some people really be there and just don't do nothing.
If you're
Poor,
if you know you're telling the truth and you know you're faithful though, right? Like, I think in Portia's case,
yeah.
Portia's just like, damn, maybe I did misspeak. Like, I think there's 265 days in a year, girl. Like,
Portia's
maybe
Yeah.
I
like,
did
wait,
misspeak.
did he tap me and I didn't notice? And low-key, I've been a traitor all the time.
Like, I think in Portia's case, it was really just like, girl, I knowing me, I probably said it, right? Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
probably.
right.
I actually think had she gotten too defensive, it would have given traitor, right? Like, I think, like,
Mm,
in Natalie's case, it's a weird
it's a weird
conundrum.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is, because there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah, and then you can only go by the table, and then Johnny brings up Natalie freaking out and demanding the antidote and how that looks suspicious too. And Natalie says that she was in fight or flight mode, and that basically she didn't want that held against her because she was just trying to save herself. Colton brings up Yam Yam's murder, and Colton asks Lisa why, in his last words, Yam Yam would bring her up so aggressively. Mara bags Yam Yam up, saying that she did see Lisa kiss him on the cheek, and they kind of like go back and forth, like, I kiss you too. And I kiss Candiace and I kiss, and she was like, yeah, but like you didn't kiss me on the cheek. It was like an air kiss. And I feel like at that point, we were playing semantics, whether like what this kiss was. And then you see Candiace backs up Lisa and says basically like, I was kissed too. I think that's like a smoking gun. P, was that smart gameplay? Like at this point, I know that Candiace said that she's trying to help Lisa out as a fellow
Yeah.
traitor, but do you think at this point in the roundtable, is it dangerous for her to kind of defend Lisa, knowing that there's a big probability that she's being banished?
I think that is based on the persona that Candice like has developed in the house, that it probably didn't come off as weird, because I think that just like since the game started, that she has been the one to kind of go to bat for people who
I
she
agree.
feel like has been who like have been wrongly called out at the round table, right?
Yeah.
So for her to do that, I don't think that they would have thought that that was like weird, because like she always does that.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly love that she does do that. Like, I don't know, like I'm living for Candace and like
Me
how
too.
she's like sticking up for people that she want to stick up for. So when she did it, I was like, I know that's right, girl, because Rob is like he is off, y'all. He's
He
doing
is.
whatever he want to do.
Dorinda also tried to jump in defending Lisa, saying that it was just an air kiss. She never touched someone else's cheek. And Rob backs up Jam Jam's dying words and tosses Lisa under the bus. This is the last thing I'll say. I think it is interesting that when faced with disagreement, your response is, that didn't happen, or I don't remember, which kind of really sealed it for Lisa Rinna at this point, because you have a traitor that is considered one of the most faithfuls of the faithfuls finally speaking up like he never has at a round table before, and coming at you with some legitimate like things that you really can't escape. Like, he's literally clocking the fact that you're lying because he knows that you're lying. So
Yeah.
he's clocking that in real in true time, while also still disguising himself as a faithful, and making the others feel like I'm leading you all to triumph if you believe in me, because I know what's going on in this game. But again, pretty privileged. No one thinks that that is weird, coming from Rob. And that again, when he says that the time for talk is over at that point.
Yeah, I was not feeling that. I'm like, you didn't have to do that. Like, it's one thing to like lead the charge against voting her out when you're having conversations with other people, but to do it at the round table when you didn't have to. Like, this is the interesting thing, is like there was a little bit of heat on Natalie. You could have actually just sat back and watched how things played out. You could have sat back and just watched how things played out, but you had to. The
And that would
dagger.
have been better gameplay, no shade.
I think so, because we see at the end now more people are kind of like their antennas are going up about Rob. Like, hold on, but yeah, it's like the dagger was in Lisa, and you took it and you turned it and you turned it, and I'm like, that was bad. That was bad traitor
Thank
gameplay
you.
for sure,
Thank
right
you.
there.
Yeah.
I
Bad traitor
definitely agree.
game.
Pete, what was your thoughts on how aggressive Rob was about Lisa in this roundtable?
It pissed me off. Like I was screaming at the TV. Like I was screaming because Rob, why are you doing this? Right? And like it pissed me off so bad because just like Jazmine said, you didn't have to do that. Natalie was like kind of already on her way out, right? And then you purposely brought the conversation back to Lisa for whatever reason.
It- this was this was so messed up, y'all. Like,
So
I was
messed up.
feeling the way that I was feeling about this was like similar to the way that I felt when Dan threw Phaedra under the bus. I'm like, what are we doing? You don't have to do this. It like, yeah, y'all, you guys brought up Candiace and like how she was really trying to defend Lisa. Candiace has been so consistently like defending the housewives, because she really went to bat for Portia too when they were like trying to
Yeah.
cancel
Hmm.
Portia. So that wasn't the moment. What Candiace does with her vote, I was like, I think she just tanked her game with that. But
Mm.
Candiace, what we've seen, fiercely loyal person, you know, for better or for worse,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, she was really Lisa's only hope, because there was nobody else other than Dorinda. But Dorinda was like Lisa, she was defending Lisa, but then trying to turn suspicion onto Mora. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
nobody's really
Yeah.
going after Mora. So, like, that's going to fall flat. If you were going to defend Lisa, you could have defended Lisa and then said something about Natalie, since it was between Lisa and
Yeah.
Natalie.
Exactly. Exactly. And that also, let's like, that's another thing for people that are looking into going into this game. Like, when you have alliances, the alliances don't just end by you just saying like, well, I don't believe this person is a traitor. You also have to somehow throw them a bone and bring in someone else that the conversation can be switched to. So if you're not
Yeah.
actively doing that when where it makes sense, then you, like you said, Jazmine, is falling flat, and we're not like really listening, and we're not even looking at you as a player that's making sense. No shade, because you're doing things that are not making sense, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I thought that Rob, I have this thing that it's like, I wonder why it's so easy for these traders to always throw the female traders under the bus so quickly. It's like, we saw that last season. I felt like there was that situation with Danielle where they were trying to get Danielle out of that turret fast, like, and I feel like this season, Rob not caring about his relationship to, like, from the beginning, I felt like there was a disconnection. Like, you saw when they pulled their hoods out, it was like Rob was not excited about this Traders
Mhm.
team. He wasn't.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I felt it the moment that he took that cloak off, and I think that that is why we're seeing him turn against his own team so early, because no shade, he never really cared about these people for real, and he doesn't
Yeah.
value them as good game players, because he's been critiquing Candace's game in confessional since the beginning. He said that she was putting too much heat on her when the whole Portia situation and stuff like that. He has been critiquing Lisa Rinna. So it's just, very interesting to me that even though you may not like the people that are in the turret with you, you have no loyalty to the game and the point of the game itself, that you're willing to like throw them under the bus so early. Because again, I don't believe we're there yet. There is a time in the game where traitors go against traitors, but we're not there yet. So this all seems weird to me. And the way that he so aggressively goes after Lisa Rinna at this roundtable, to me, if I'm a faithful sitting there, I'm just like, well, you really haven't really talked at all, truly, this entire time, and now you're so like you're so sure that Lisa Rinna is a traitor. Now let's talk about Candiace's vote.
Wait, one correction. Can I add?
Yeah, go ahead.
They were trying to get Danielle out because Danielle started saying Carolyn's name first.
That is true.
Little revisionist history.
That is
Wellington.
true. That is true. That is true.
She
I didn't
got
want to
that
touch
first
on the women on women crime. I'm sorry. We're so close to March.
Yeah.
You know, I was
Yeah.
trying to, but no, that
No.
is true. But season 3 traders, like season 3 is such a joke. Like you can't even like.
Oh my gosh, my least
like
favorite season. But I agree with you. Sorry, I didn't.
no, go ahead.
Oh no. I agree with you about Rob though. That I peeped that immediately when they revealed themselves in the turret. I was like, he's not happy to be on a team with them. I said that to my fiance when we were watching it, and I think it's because Rob thinks he's smarter than the housewives. Like a lot of people, if you watch how the gamers talk about the housewives, they think all the housewives are just vapid, dumb women. And I'm like, yeah, when Rob saw that it was 2 housewives with him, he just thought immediately, I'm higher than them, I'm smarter than them.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be in community with them. So yeah, I don't think he ever held them to a high regard at all.
Yeah, whatsoever. The voting happens, and everybody's basically voting against Lisa Rinna at this point. And even when Rob says his vote, he says something about like he mentioned something while he like says like Lisa Rinna, and then it's time for Candiace to showcase who she voted for. And before we talk about her decision, if you were Candiace in that situation, just don't give me an explanation. Just give me a name. Who, if you were her, who will you vote for that you think makes sense? P.
Rob.
Jazmine.
Natalie.
To me, I see both. And now we'll discuss Candiace's vote. When Candiace voted Rob, first of all, I really got up on the TV and I said, yeah, because I'm like, finally, like something against this man to humble him. Now, I understand that it could have felt like you're putting yourself out there too much, and you're kind of like, it's Rob versus Bob the drag queen. Like it feels a little bit like this at this point. But I think that Candiace's track record at the round table, and also this new relationship that she has, because I do feel like Candiace has solidified herself as a faithful as well. And I think that this in the situation that she's in, she can then flip that vote while she's talking to people after the round table and say, well, only a traitor knows a traitor. You don't think so?
No, because
Why?
you're saying only a traitor knows a traitor. You're the only one that voted for Rob. Nobody's ever brought his name up at the table. Now I'm looking at you like, well, if a traitor knows a traitor, how do you know? Like, why are you so
But
sure?
he's going so aggressively at the table. We've never seen that before. And
Is
you
the-
go
Sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead. This turns into The View, honey. Go ahead.
Yes, because listen, one thing that Candiace has established is that she is a very consistent voter. She voted for Ron from the first roundtable up until Ron was banished. At the top of this episode, Candiace says, I'm voting for Natalie. She was so certain. She told them in the kitchen, I'm voting for Natalie. Now you get to the roundtable and you turn your vote to Rob. That we've never been able to turn you before. Ron has been convincing in the past. You've never taken your foot off of his neck. Why did you take your foot off of Natalie's neck? Now I'm looking at it in a way, and I'm like, I've been seeing chatter online. People are saying like Candiace writing Rob's name down is her own insurance because if he goes against Lisa, he's gonna go against me. Now, when I get banished as a traitor, people will know. The North will remember. But I'm like, I don't think Candiace was thinking about it like that. Candiace, again, she is emotional, and that's why we love her. I said this. That's why I resonate with her. Candiace is an emotional girl, for better or for worse. This is one of those instances where, like, I think her loyalty to Lisa, to the traitors, it got the best of her, and she was like, "Fuck you, Rob. I'm throwing your name out there. You are a traitor." But I don't think that she was really thinking of, like, this is my insurance policy because he's probably gonna banish me, and like I want them to know. I don't think that that's what went into it. And I'm not saying that Candiace isn't forward thinking. We know the girl is very intelligent, but I think this was purely get back. This was purely retribution. I'm avenging Lisa. You said her name. I'm saying your name, bitch. Now what? But I don't think it was
no.
Sorry, off my soapbox now.
Go ahead, Pete.
No, what I was gonna say is like if I was Candiace, I would have did the exact same thing that she did. But I'm also somebody who's also like very emotional, right? So I'm like, yes, Rob, like you got us messed up. Like I'm coming for you. And so when I saw that and saw that Candiace did that, I was like, yes, just like me. Shout out to HU, right? Because like, yes, that is why she did that. Because like you knew that you did something wrong, and so because you want to play, and granted, other folks might see this as like her doing the wrong thing. Well, now let me show you like where I stand in this game based on like what your actions are, right? So I think that when you ask like what was the best move for her to make based on what was happening at that round table, that's why I said Rob, because I would have did the exact same thing. Cause stop, right?
Yeah, and I feel like at that point, I don't know. I feel like Rob's it might have been. I agree with you, Jazmine, that it was an emotional move and there was no strategy behind it. But I believe that Candiace has the smartness and strategy to be able to come out of it good. And that's why
Yeah.
I don't think it was a bad move, because she has the capacity to still flip this around and it be good for her. I do think that, and like, this would have been Danielle last season, I would have been like, oh, good, Danielle, pack your bags, you're gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like any other trader, maybe. Like if this would have been like Lisa Rinna and it was can't like if it would have been flipped, I would have been like, Lisa Rinna, you don't have the ability to flip this. But I do believe that Candiace has the ability to flip this, because I think that vote was kind of Candiace also letting it be known that, bitch, I'm onto you. I see that you don't give a fuck about this no more. Like you don't care about the turret. We had this conversation before everybody walked in at breakfast, and we were clear that we were going to get back in with the program and be a unison. So the fact that she sees that Rob going left at the round table, she's also trying to send that message across the table very loud to him, like, bitch, I'm onto you, and it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So I do. She has the capacity to flip this. I do believe that, and I think that due to Rob's behavior at the round table, with how he went so aggressively towards Lisa and seeing that he hadn't been vocal like this about anybody truly at the round table before, those are all things that she can use. And the fact that people are already feeling like Colton is devious, Rob is pissed that Candiace wrote his name down, trying to hint to everyone that he's a traitor. Candiace knows that Rob is a snake. He's betraying the people that helped them, and she hints that he will have dire consequences for these actions. Colton pulls Johnny aside and tells him that he wants to take on Steven next, which I'm kind of glad that Colton is like sniffing down the wrong pole, because while Candiace and Rob are planning to kill each other, I do not need Colton also adding to that fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I agree. I do think with Candiace, I'm so sorry to keep harping on this.
No, it's okay. That's the point of the show.
If I were Candiace, I wouldn't have written Rob's name down. I would have stuck with Natalie, and then I would have started a campaign in the house against Rob.
Against
right?
Rob.
I feel like that's the move that you make.
Yeah.
I think what she did was essentially, if I'm going down, like if I'm gonna blow myself up, I'm walking into a mall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
knew
yeah.
this bitch is going down, not just me. So
Yeah.
I think she's like, okay, like
It was too early.
Yeah, it's gonna backfire on the both of them, but I think the better move would have been to stick with her vote and then just start the campaign. Like, did you guys see how Rob was going so hard against Lisa, and Lisa turned out to be a traitor? Like,
Mm-hmm.
could that be some like traitor on traitor violence? Like, I think she could have done that because as we see, Rob is definitely starting his campaign against Candiace.
Well, Colton walks
Mhm.
into this kitchen and points out, guys, do you see that every time that Candace spoke up, she was basically trying to deviate the conversation away from Lisa? And then Rob sees that as an in to also punch Candace with a knife behind her back, because that wasn't even a stab, that was a punch.
Mm-hmm.
And says, "Oh my God, guys, do you think it's been a turret full of housewives all along?"
Oh,
When I tell you that I wanted to like, I got also castmates, I got a noise complaint because of how much I screamed. Like literally, I'm gonna put the screenshot on the in post. That's how much I screamed when he said that. I said, "Wow." P, what were your thoughts when you heard Rob say those words and basically kind of like start his launch on "I'm going for Candace"?
yeah. So I have like my own thoughts about Robin, like why he does the things that he does. But when he said that,
And what are those
um,
thoughts?
yes. So basically, I think that Traders is a good representation of just like how society creates like different realities for people. And like some of us are socialized in a way to value other people, whereas some of us are socialized in a way to value ourselves. And you know, you might be socialized in different ways based on who you are, where you might be from, what type of stuff you might got going on. But I think Rob is somebody who has been socialized in a way to where he only like focuses on his individual self and like what is going to please him in that moment versus what might please the like greater good of like whatever the mission is at hand. And I think that a lot of times within this season, like we have seen just how people are socialized impact how their behaviors show up in the game.
Yeah.
And I think that Rob just like really shows that like he's a straight white man.
Especially with all them black people being killed so early in the game, like it was so easy to. I found also weird that connects to what you're saying about Rob is that it's so hard for him to kill his friends, but it was so easy to kill
Yes,
Monet and all of Candace's friends. You know,
yeah,
Candace didn't have like a say in those things, but like Rob was able to go to bat for his friends.
But
And
she
I
did have a say in them. They had to decide
yeah.
together who to kill. Like I, I have to push back on because I've been seeing so many people say like black people, and I feel like every time I come on your platform, Wellington, I'm like saying something in defense of others and not
yeah.
because you had your people were eating me up about my Bose pick. Oh my god! But I'm about to do it again. Okay, I have to push back because one thing I
But
am
that's why I
is
invite you over, because you always tell it how you actually feel and not what other people want to hear.
exactly
Go ahead, Jasmine.
right. This is my analysis on that. I don't think it's fair to say that all the black people were targeted in a game called the Traitors. People are
Hmm.
going to be targeted. That's the name of the game. It's also not fair to say that Rob didn't care about like black people or allude to that because he literally stuck up for
For
Ron
Ron,
against
yeah,
his fellow traitor who was a white person. So I
yeah,
think that I think it's easy when you see like you just said P, the way we are socialized and conditioning, right? I think a lot of us are conditioned to watch media or consume media um, in a way that we look at the world around us. So if you look at the world
Yeah,
around you and you are always anticipating that someone is going to be prejudiced against you or discriminatory or racist towards you because of the identity that you hold, you consume media in that same exact way, right? I don't walk around in my real life thinking that people are treating me away because I'm black
yeah,
or because I'm a woman, right? So I don't consume media in that way. So I don't immediately look for that. I'm looking at the dynamics of the game. We're in a game called The Traitors. Monet was a big personality. One thing we know about these shows is like when you are a bigger personality, I think that does put a target on your back. When people have nothing to go off of on these gaming shows, you notice on Big Brother, on Survivor, when you have so little to go off of, you are literally grasping at straws. Now, where I will say does sometimes implicit bias go into that, or help to form those opinions
Yeah.
sometimes. But I don't think it's
Mhm.
fair to blanket that and say like they were targeting all the black people, because in between the black people were banished, the black people
Mm-hmm.
were murdered, other black people had to vote for them to be banished. Another black person was in the turret that had to agree for them to be murdered. So I don't think that's fair. And I'm done.
No, I feel
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's valid.
Listen,
It's
no.
valid. Go ahead, B.
No, like that is a valid point, and I will say that's why when I was like saying how I felt that I didn't mention race, like I was sure to talk about why people do the
Mhm.
things that they do based on how they are socialized, right? And like those things can show up with whoever you interact with, and I don't think that Colton, sorry, well, I think that what I'm thinking about Rob also applies to Colton also.
Mhm.
But I don't think that Colton and Rob do the things that they do necessarily based on other people's race.
Yeah,
But
no,
I do
absolutely
think
not.
that yeah, no, 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 no. But I think that a lot of their actions are due just to like how they are socialized. And yes, I do understand that the show is called Traitors, right? But I think that it also is a good social experiment to see like even in a situation where the goals are to be as devious as possible, how are you devious, who is more
Yeah.
devious than others, why are they devious,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that is just a good experiment to see like, oh, that person might do that because of that,
Yeah.
right? But I
Like five
do
seasons in, you can do a study on this and the people that are
yeah,
playing, and especially with the others that are not like celebrity based, they're actually like regular people. I like what you said because it's true. Like, why are some people more devious than others? Why are some people, but keep going.
yeah. So like, yeah, so say all that to say, like I think that like even like with the whole situation, like the first clue to me that like Rob, like might be for himself is that when well not even like for himself, but like for whatever his goal and mission is, right?
Yeah.
Is that when they had to do that first murder, and I can't recall like what episode it was on, but like Candiace didn't even know that Rob and Lisa had like murdered someone because they had just did it without her knowing. So that was my first clue. I was like, that's so interesting. Why wouldn't you just like make sure that your other traitor knew? So that was the first clue to me, like, oh, there's something going on there. So like when I watch these shows, I'm not necessarily like watching it through a lens of like how I think that I experience the world personally. I kind of like try to see and like think about like, oh, what does that mean about this? What does that mean about like
Yeah.
what's happening here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my favorite part of watching TV though, and talking about it with other people, because we all have a
Yeah.
different POV when we watch it. There's a different lens. I think also to the socialization point, or maybe even the conditioning point. Also look at the shows that these people come from. When you have
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Survivor players on there, that's why I said my theory going in. I thought Lisa Rob and Candiace would stick together because none of them were gamers. The gamers
Mm-hmm.
are conditioned through their respective shows to go against their allies very quickly in pursuit of
Yeah.
$1 million. Go ahead.
Some people are saying that Love Island contestants are gamers now
That's what I was gonna say, right? When you look
because
at
it's technically a
the
competition.
Yes, look at the dynamics of their shows. The housewives are very it's like it's clicky. When they
Yeah.
come into a game like the
Sisterhood.
Traders, yes, they stick together for the most part, right? Like because of the environment that they come in. It's like we might see them go at each other's necks on the housewives in this like small bubble, but that is a very exclusive club, and like they will stick together when they absolutely need to do it, and we've seen it on the show.
Mhm.
Love Island, you're there for yourself. You're there to find your boy or your girl and get on, get your money and get on. Survivor, I'm playing for $1 million. My mama, you gotta go. Sorry, voting you out, writing your name down. Big Brother, $750,000. Sorry, sister. Bye
Yeah.
bye. You know what I'm
Bye.
saying? So
Yeah.
the shows that they come from also help inform their decision making when they come into a game like the
Yeah.
Traders.
Mhm.
That's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Candace says, and I love this line that it's like where the show ends. Rob made a decision to disband the traitors. The Christian woman in me is clutching her pearls. I'm just at gas. But the bad bitch that is Candace is ready to play a motherfucking game. I have to take the snake down and cut him off at the head. And I said, period, Candace, deliver that line straight to camera. Thank you. She's
I
so
She
good.
ate
It
that.
was so delicious. I was literally in my last recap, like, not today, Satan. Not
Not
today,
today.
overalls.
Not
Not
today.
today, snake.
Okay. She ate it. I loved it. I'm sorry. Candice is eating this whole season for me. Like, I can't wait just to watch her again and again.
She is perfection on here. Like
Yeah.
I'm actually I wasn't we all know we all live for Candace. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised that she's doing a good job, but I am like she's doing an even better job than I knew she
Me
was gonna do.
too.
Like that's
Yeah.
Me
the
too.
killer. It's like, girl, I didn't think
Yeah.
you were gonna come and eat like this, but you're eating.
Especially how
Eating.
like for me, it's like how how cemented she is within the faithfuls. Like to be
Yeah.
a traitor and be that segmented, like that's at least Rob. The same could be said about Rob, but Rob are based on alliances and strategy, whereas like
Yeah.
Candace's alliances are based on like real trust. Like she's really making people
Mhm.
like truly believe that bitch, we're friends, we're in this together, and like they're not believing that Candace is not a traitor because oh no, I don't think that she could be able to. It's legitimately the same thing that carried Phaedra all the way to the end was that people liked her and felt safe with her and
Mhm.
felt like no, there's no way it's Phaedra because Phaedra is way too nice of a person and a way too nice of a person to me to be a traitor. And I think that
Yeah.
she saw that gameplay from Phaedra and mixed it with her smartness and it's playing out good for her, Jazmine.
You just a light bulb just went off in my head. I
Go
said
ahead.
that Rob was playing a Suri game. Candace is playing the Suri game. Candace is the
Mm.
Suri of this season
Mm-hmm.
because yes, Suri's gameplay was not as overt as Rob's has become. It was very effortless. It was a very trust, bonding, real
Bonding.
friendship.
Real friendship.
Okay, it was
Hey, Quad.
right. It's giving that like yes, no. Candace is the Suri of this season.
Yeah, she definitely is,
Mhm.
and that it goes to show because I was nervous for her at the beginning because of how excited she was to just be at the castle, but
Mhm.
I saw those nerves kind of like go away very first episode, and now she's like, okay, I'm here, like let me lock in, and I think
Yeah.
she's playing an amazing game. I think that also seeing how we saw Candace leave the Real Houses of Potomac, I'm just happy to see her also just having some good time on
Yeah.
television. And
Yeah.
I was able to catch her people exclusive that they did, and she was saying how it was very important for her to this time for people to really see her for who she is and not the way that she reacts in a cast of a bunch of women that are there to like make dramatic television. And I think that
Yeah.
this season of Traders is showcasing her in an amazing way. And one thing about Traders, they pick their stars at the beginning of the show, and those are the stars that they investing throughout. And shout out to Candace, you did it, girl, because
Yeah.
you're that
She
girl.
did it. It's
You're
it's
that
She's
girl.
eating it.
amazing. Can I tell you guys something really profound that Tess Higgins said on my podcast
Yeah,
about
go
this
ahead.
show? I asked her the question like, who do you think will prevail in this battle, like this traitor versus traitor battle,
I
like
was just
Candace
about to ask you
versus
guys
Rob?
this too.
Oh, I'm jumping the gun. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. But say
Okay,
what's.
so she said that it's really going to depend on the edit for episode 8. So she said The Traitors is a reality show, but it's still written like a 3-act structure, which is a movie, right? And like right around where we are is like when our hero starts to have like push up against a little bit of conflict, and then we get to see them kind of prevail on the other side of this, right? So she
Mm-hmm.
said when we go into episode 8, watch how these two are positioned against each other. If Candace is the antagonist against Rob, Rob is our hero. But if Rob is the antagonist against Candace, that is our hero, and that is who is going to
Mm.
come out on top. Because she said the other thing that we need to realize about this season, she thinks that they're this season they are really showing us that the traitors are the heroes ultimately of this season.
Mm.
So it was so profound because I was like, I don't think of reality TV in structures the way that movies are written.
Yeah.
But Tess
Yeah.
is a writer. She literally wrote a movie, right? But when she broke it down, I was like, that's how every season of the Traitors plays out. If you go
Yeah.
back and watch them, that's how they all play out. The hero does emerge. They bump up against some conflict, but then they do emerge like right around this like episode 8, 9. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Well,
that's
who do you
good.
think, P? Who do you think is gonna stay and be triumphant?
So I'm gonna say Candice. Like, I really think is going to be Candice. And I say that not because I love her, not because I also graduated from Howard, but I think that like I think that she understands the people in the game and the psychology of like what she needs to do, especially now that like Rob is kind of like showing where he lies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just her and like being in this setting, I think that this is the perfect setting for her. Like this gives her the like opportunity to like one, just like be herself, but like also like use her smarts, her strategy, but like also kind of like play a character to kind of like get the job done. And I
Yeah.
think that that's why she's eating this so bad is because the like setting is like prime for like all that she's good at.
Yeah. Well, Jazmine, I know that Candace is our sister, but be honest. Who do you think is going to be triumphant in this trader on trader battle?
So before Tess gave me that breakdown, I said Rob, right? And it's not because I want that to happen, but I'm just looking at the dynamics of the
Yeah,
house.
sure.
Candace has goodwill in the house, but she has goodwill in terms of, like we said, friendship, vibes, whatever. Rob has goodwill in the fact that people trust him as a leader, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a dangerous thing, right? That's a dangerous game to play when you're opposed to somebody like that, because whereas Candace will have people will question voting for Candace, but if Rob is like, no, think about it this way, that he's established himself as a strategic thinker and somebody who can say, look at this dynamic and look at that dynamic, right? That is someone who can really lead a charge and like convince people. Whereas I think Candace, people don't want to think that Candace is a traitor. People don't want to vote for her. But if her name is thrown out there and there's a lot of evidence against it, I think that people could be swayed against
Mm-hmm.
her. And that's where I'm at with it. Like I said, I
Yeah.
want Candace to take all of it. I've been pulling for her since episode 1. I want her to win the whole thing, but I'm nervous. I'm
Yeah.
nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I have to
Yeah.
agree too. I'm very nervous just because Rob has come out to be someone very, very smart and strategic that I did not anticipate. I do think I do believe that Rob is one of those people that is able to like think of a plan and then execute that plan and be successful at it, but he might not be best at in battle combat, like in the scene. And I think that Candace's housewives training and her experience on shows like that is what helps her in those moments. Flipping the Portia situation, flipping is going to help her to flip other situations if it goes into like some in front of other people, stuff. I do think that if she sits down, and this is why I kind of like Love Island a little bit better, because it's in real time and this is already like taped and what happened. But let's just think that it's happening right now and they're in the castle and they just finished this round table and they're going back to their hotels. Candace, I need you to sit down and legitimately think about everything that has happened in your experience and think of a plan on how you're gonna bring all of this shit up, because they did float Rob's name at very early on. Michael Rappaport did that, you know?
It did.
And Tiffany was also part of that. And she was
Yeah.
very close to Candace. And Candace can use that against Rob. Candace can use her knowledge as a trader and and the fact that she's such a faithful to her advantage, because that's what I mean in the sense of like, maybe you are a traitor and she can flip it on him while still, because of the trust that everybody has. I'm glad that the person that Michael Rappaport said that to was Kristen, and Kristen is still in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So now Candace starting to bring up Rob, and I believe that's who she brought Rob up to when they were talking. Was it Kristen or was it Johnny?
It was Johnny. Her
It
and
was
Johnny were
Johnny,
talking about
but
Colton
you
and
know
Rob.
that but you know that Kristen and Candace have a good relationship. And you know that Johnny, Tara, and Kristen kind of have like an alliance. And so I think the groundwork is there. She needs to work it and think very, very precisely
And
with her gameplay. Go ahead.
And Kristen is saying that there's a strategy that they have that we're not being shown. We don't know how deep that strategy goes, and like we don't know what they're working on. Maybe we are gonna start to see some more of the strategy play out, and she is in a good position. My only thing is, if Candiace doesn't get too emotional, she is intelligent enough to strategize. Like I think she can be seen as a strategic player. Just
Yeah.
In the first half, she's just been vibing and cool, but she's definitely really intelligent. She can be a good strategic player. She just has to like not get so emotional. But when I tell you, I kind of do want her to get emotional because I'm waiting for an epic roundtable battle and a Candiace Reed like none other towards Mr. Robbie Bobby.
So okay,
Okay.
so that's only happening if they're going against each other like at the round table and there's no and I don't know if we'll get that, to be honest.
Mhm.
I've been thinking about it and I'm like, are we gonna get a Phaedra Candice moment? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just
Mm.
like, I feel like Rob is playing a game that like he's not gonna let Candice like I don't know. I don't know. I'm really eager to see how these episodes go. But I have a question. Who does Candice go after in priority wise? Rob or Colton? P?
Mm, that's a good one. Um,
Because I was
I
thinking
think
about
it's
that
so interesting
myself.
because yeah, and like I think it's so interesting because like she already like listed Rob, but I think Colton is also dangerous, and I personally want Colton to be gone out the
And
house.
she's already talked about him
Um,
too.
yeah. So I think because she already chose Rob, she might just stick to that, just like based on patterns and history, just knowing how she votes. But I would go for Colton, honestly.
Jazmine, what do you think is smartest to do? Take out Colton? Now listen. We haven't seen the turret, right?
Yeah.
The traitors still have to make a murder. Let's say that Alan doesn't add anything else to the gameplay because also right around when the traders start to have problems in the turret is when Alan brings in the ability to recruit. So there's still a recruitment that needs to happen unless they don't do it this season. But basing on the older seasons, there's still a recruitment that needs to happen. So let's say none of that happens and the traders are able to murder. If they if Candace is able to get the murder that because now we're gonna go into territory where if the traders don't like each other, they're going to do things as who decides who gets to murder who because you might not have the same person, and especially Rob is not gonna want Colton to get murdered in his alliance, you know.
Right.
However, if Candace gets the right to murder, I think that she needs to go to Colton because if you try to take Colton out at a round table, it's not gonna serve you well. Because when Colton goes up there and says faithful, it's going I feel like it's not going to work. I think she needs to take Colton out in a murder and go for Rob at a round table. Because you know how that's going to end. And without Colton's help at that round table, you can really actually take on Rob without that situation. However, that decision can also backfire on her. You know, murdering Colton lets the faithfuls know that Colton was never a traitor and that he was a faithful. And now we might not, that might make them too frenzy in the sense of like, maybe it's someone we've never thought before and they start looking at her. So the next murder, very important, Jazmine.
Well, that's why I don't think she should murder Colton. Well, for one, she's not going to be able to. There's not a world in which I see Rob allowing Colton to be murdered. That doesn't make sense to me. So I don't think that she's even going to have the option. I think they need to go with somebody neutral. Because one thing we also notice right now, there is almost a divide in the house. Like
Yes,
Candiace
the
kind of
faithfuls
has
are
a
truly
side.
divided.
Yeah, Candiace kind of has a side. Like we can almost like predict who would be on Candiace's side versus who would take Rob's side. So need to choose someone who is neutral for the both of them to murder. And she does need to take Colton out at a banishment. And I say go after Colton first because Rob is only strengthened by Colton. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mhm.
Taking Rob out too soon makes people look at her like, are you a traitor? How do you know this? Why were you the only one that said his name? Whatever. I think if she takes Colton out, Colton goes up there, he says he's a faithful, it doesn't matter because most people in the house have suspected him at one point. So she would actually have a better shot at getting people on the Colton train to vote him out. And then he gets voted out as a traitor. I mean, as a faithful, and it's like, oh shoot, well, we thought he was a traitor anyway. Then you can move into phase 2, which is Rob. But if you go after Rob at a round table and he goes up there and you're successful, and he goes up there and he says he's a traitor and nobody has suspected him up until this point, or at least not loudly, you are a traitor. And that's exactly how they're gonna look at her. So take Colton out and then enter phase 2. That's fine.
And then enter phase 2. Another thing that I wanted to mention before we go, a lot of people on social media, some people that played the game before, they've been interviewed and stuff like that, and they said that, you know, they're told that all you need to do is go up there, say what you are, and that nothing is stopping a traitor for getting pissed and saying fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and you is a bitch too. You know what I'm saying? So that could essentially happen too. And I cannot wait for that to happen, because I'm waiting for a trader to be so pissed at another trader taking them out that they really blow up their spot for real.
I feel like Candiace would be the one to do it. Like if there was anybody that was gonna get up there and be like, I'm a traitor, but by the way, that bitch over there is also a traitor.
Now you see that moment, I think we actually might get. Oh my god. Well, that brings us to the end of our recap. Castmates, thank you so much for listening. Jazmine, Pete, thank you so much for being on this recap. Pete, let everybody know where to find you and a little bit about your show.
Yes, thank you for that. Well, one, thank you for having me. This was such a great conversation. So folks, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter at Pardon Me TV. And Pardon Me TV is an edutainment platform that's focused on celebrating Blackness and seeking to answer the question, what the fuck is going on around this bitch? So if you're interested in like hearing about stories that celebrate the marginalized and spark curiosity, hit me up.
Period. And of course, yeah, I think Pete, you might have to mute yourself.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's like a feedback for some reason. Okay, so Jazmine, let everybody know about Channel Surf and everything about your shows coming up, and also the queue, because the queue has been on and popping.
It really has been. So yeah, as Welington said, I host 2 series actually. Channel Surf is where I recap and I have general pop culture conversations and conversations around TV. I'm currently recapping The Traitors, RuPaul's Drag Race, and finishing up with The Real Housewives of Potomac. But I have more video essays coming for the queue. So if you like a little more analysis around like TV and why we watch it, tune into the queue. Tune into Channel Surf, my bad. And then tune into the queue if you are curious about what our favorite actors and reality stars like to watch when they are not on screen, because that is exactly what the queue is. It's an interview series. I've had Candiace Dillard Bassett on there. We had a really fun conversation. Jazzy Harris from The Real Housewives of Potomac, Tosin Morohumphala, Adrienne Walker. I've had some really cool guests on the queue and more to come. So that's me. And then you can find me on every platform at J. Henley Brown. And also that's my YouTube handle with both of my series.
Period. I love it. So easy. And I love the queue because no one is making that show. You know what I'm saying? Like what are the people that we watch, what are they watching? And what are they what streamers are they, you know, tuning into? So I love that. Well, Castmates, you already know. Let us know what you think. Is Candiace going to take it all the way to the end, or is Rob going to be the snake that we know him to be, and take it from her? Let me know in the comments below. Of course, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the Reality Rundown's YouTube channel, and make sure that you are following us on social media, because if you're not following the Reality Rundown, you're only getting half the story when it comes to this reality TV stuff. So make sure you're on there. I love you guys, and Castmates, I'll see you next week.